Right, hello, welcome to the Final Flat podcast. We're going to start with our first episode today. We've got Joe and myself, James. We've decided to start this channel as a bit of fun, but we're going to start with a Cheltenham preview. Obviously, the big festival coming up next week. So, are you looking forward to it, Joe? What are you thinking?
Can't wait, mate. It's arguably the best week of the year, isn't it? So, what more can you want, really?
Very true. What we're going to do is we're going to run through the graded races. We're not going to do the handicaps. We might have a couple of handicaps come the end, potentially, but we'll see. But we're going to get straight into it, try and not keep it too long, but we're going to get straight onto it with the Supreme Novices Hurdle. And the field, as it stands, is Facile Vega 5-2, Marine Nationale 4-1, Imperia Pass 6-1, probably don't go here, Elite Tomp 6-1, Lucia 8-1, Gaelic Warrior 8-1, Timoris 12-1, High Definition 12-1, and Diverge 14-1. 16-1 bar, horses like Chasing Fire, Hunter's Yarn, things like that. So I think the first ever race preview for the Final Flight, I'm going to give you the honours, Joe. So take it away, mate. What are your thoughts on this, on the Supreme Novices Hurdle 2023?
Perfect. So I think I have a very strong opinion on Marine Nationale to win this race. I think gets the trip perfect. Cheltenham Hill suit. He was on soft ground the last day. Didn't like it. The jockey said that after the race. They just threw him in, not threw him in sort of thing, but they put him in there. Didn't expect much, and he obviously come on massively from his performance before. They said it'd be the first time he was off the bridle. Answers questions, come off the bridle well. Found something after the last flight after he smacked that one. Got up and won. Form's been boosted since. Arguably, there's a split camp, isn't there, Facile Vega, Marine Nationale?
Yeah.
You can't have Facile Vega after the last run. I know we spoke about this. I just can't have it for me, especially at the prices. I think Marine Nationale should be favourite here.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there, to be fair. I was a massive Facile Vega fan, as you well know, and I was touting him the whole time, all last year and all this year, but I don't know, the way that race was run, and it was more, he just went out like a light. Do you know what I mean? The way that horses come up alongside him, and he's just gone. He's just completely stopped. And I'm thinking, I couldn't back an horse at 5-2 at that price. Potentially each way maybe, but no, I think you're right on that one.
I mean, especially when there's arguably he did go too fast, but this. When you look at the times, it wasn't unbelievably fast. He was keen in his hands. And when you look at the race back, he arguably didn't have control of the horse. And that's why he blew out. But like you say, for me, he stopped dead. Mentally for a horse, what does it do? They said he was lame the week after. Can they get him back? There's a lot of questions in that camp where, Barry O'Connell's been sweet on him all the way along. Jockey's been sweet on him. Breezed through everything. He should come on from the last run. He's been put away for the winter. I'm hearing a lot of good things. So, fingers crossed. The first one.
I agree. Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm going to agree with you on this. And my selection would have been Marine Nationale as well. I think people go on about, the long layoff and all that sort of stuff. But according to Mr. Barry O'Connell, it's been the plan all along, bring him in fresh.
100%.
And I don't see it being a problem saving him for the better ground, things like that. I look through the rest of them. I look at, Elite Tom. Like I say, the race sort of fell apart. Did he just pick up the pieces? Maybe, maybe not. Could he improve to win this? I'm not sure. It's not one I could. The way he races Keeling before, it's just not for me really. I can't really have Timoris. He's not one for me. If a Tolworth winner, I couldn't have him. Form's not really too much, to be honest.
Again, you could say that race fell apart too.
Well, that's it. And then you've got the likes of Imperia Pass going to Ballymore, Lucia's Mares Novice, Gaelic Warrior Ballymore. It's. High Definition's an interesting one. What do you think? Would you have done anything if you'd have stayed up in that race against Facile Vega?
I seen a podcast and I thought they summed it up perfectly. You couldn't be confident on him, but you wouldn't be surprised if he ran a good race. For me, round Cheltenham, there's a lot of questions, but he's got the talent. If he can jump well and he can get in a rhythm, you never know. But I mean, like you say, after the last run, you can't really be confident on him. But yet again, you wouldn't be surprised if he come a good third or something like that, would you?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think probably the only other one I'd maybe give a squeak to that I quite like was Chasing Fire.
Yeah,
His
you've
form
got
was
that big
pretty
price,
good.
haven't you?
Yeah, I've got that bit of a big price, but I think even at the price now is not a bad little each way price. But other than that, I think you're right. I think I'm going to stick with Marine National, and I think hopefully he'll get us a festival off to a flyer, mate, because it'll be a nice start.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Are you happy with
Yeah,
to move
so
on?
the next race will be the Arkle. Split decisions, split camps again.
Yeah.
So we've got El Fabiolo, John Bon, joint favourites, I believe, 6-4.
Yeah, I've got 6-4 El Fabio, John Bon 13-8, 9-2 Dice at Dynamo currently, Samoa 10-1, Banbridge 10-1, Appreciate 10-1, etc. 14-1 bar. For me, I'm going to stick with him. He's over here somewhere. Here he is, Mr. John Bon. I was a massive El Fabiolo fan, to be fair, for a while beforehand, but I'm not keen on the way he jumps. To me, he's got a mistake in him. He looks an out-and-out stayer to me. I'd have rather him being in the Turners. I think if he goes to the Turners, he'd give Matty Potter a real good run for his money, to be honest. But I think Dice at Dynamo is probably going to go off like the Clappers. It's going to set it up for John Bon. He's got economical jumping, you know what I mean? I think he'll get in there and he'll pick up the pieces once Dice at Dynamo folds. And I think El Fabiolo might not even get around if he got a mistake in him like he usually does. Can he recover on this? I don't know. What do you think?
I agree there. I've got John Bon at a big price, so I've always been in his camp, you know that. But for me, I think it's the tactical pace he has. You see, I mean, the last run, Henderson did say there's 2 horses in the race. He doesn't know his price. He's gone and he's won. Mm. I mean, he's won a race. You can't knock him for it. It might not have been impressive. The form's, you could say, boosted. Calico won at the weekend. But like you say, as Vel Fabiolo, I thought the race sort of not blew up, but for me, Appreciate it's miles better than what he showed. El Fabiolo, I just can't get away with him. Like you said, his jumping, I feel like the way John Bon jumps as well, he gains lengths at fences. I feel like El Fabiolo will be the opposite. And in Grade 1 races at Cheltenham, you can't be doing that, can you? And I agree with you on Dysart. You know what happened last year? He went off like the Clappers and fell. I don't think he'd have kept the gallop up either way. So, no, I am in the McManus colours camp for this one.
Well, like I say, a quick one on that. I'm a little bit on the side of, yes, a slightly shorter trip than the Irish Arkle for Dysart. So it might help him in that way. But I just think he goes off so quick, they won't be able to restrain him enough. And if they do restrain him enough, it means John Bon's within striking distance. Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
I think El Fabiolo, if he makes a mistake or two, you know, these fences come quick and fast in the Arkle. And, excuse me, yeah, I just don't think he'll be able to keep up, basically. I think he's more of a Turner's horse myself. But, yeah, my selection for that would be John Bon. Yeah, are you in agreement? Yeah.
I'm in the John Bon camp, mate, I am.
Lovely. Right, we'll go on to the next one, swiftly on to the Champion Hurdle. I think this one will be pretty quick. We've got Constitution Hill at 4-11 on. State Man at 11-4, Vauban 10-1, who I think has been a bit disappointing this season. I like to move it 14-1, and nobody else worth mentioning. So go on. What do you reckon? Are we all going to steam into 4-11 on, or are we going to leave him? What do you think?
Well, for me, it'll probably be. Well, I won't be betting on him, but I do think he'll win. State Man's been good, but Constitution Hill just seems a different animal altogether, doesn't he? But I would give a small mention to Vauban.
Really?
Each way, yeah. I think he has a strange season this season, hasn't he, really?
Yeah.
No one knew if he would make Cheltenham. The third last time, I don't think was too bad. Half a length behind Honeysuckle. She went off favourite that day. I mean, well, she had money for her late money. I would write her off. I think she's on the decline. Pains me to say it. If she turned up here, which I don't think she will, but I would say for places, Vauban is probably one I would take, and I think it's more value than the 4-11 on. I think in each way wouldn't be an impossible shout. And also, you could argue there could still be a lot of improvement in him. I think Stateman was sort of, you could say, prime for that run in Leopardstown.
Do you not think obviously they run against each other before, and Vauban got quite close. I suppose we were all expecting him to get a little bit closer in that Irish champion hurdle, weren't we? And he didn't really get any closer. Would you not expected a bit more improvement there? Do you think he'll go again and get closer this time?
I did, but I thought the race was a bit in and out. And Vauban was at the back. He was jumping forward and getting restrained, I didn't think the race suited him. The race before was a lot smoother. He had the smoother passages. There, he looked a lot more keen, as if he wanted to go on and sit on his tail, maybe. I think that'd be my option if I was riding him, because when he won at Cheltenham in the Triumph, he was always stalking the leader on the bridle, and he come with a turn of foot. I think he still got the turn of foot, but I think it needs to be a bit of a stronger gallop, and I think he could stalk Constitution Hill and get second.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be an interesting one, because I mean, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 runners, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
it's not looking like a strong field whatsoever.
No, and you're going to get 3 places now, so I think if you back Vauban, you've got a bit of value there. And
it's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. I'd agree with you there. I'd maybe give a little small token word for I like to move it. I think you could get a decent price. Again, like you say, it's not really a betting race, is it?
Isn't it?
Constitution Hill. You can maybe look at the without markets or whatever, but other than that, you just sort of sit back, enjoy, and just take Constitution Hill for what he is. Because let's be honest, he's an absolute weapon. He's a beast, isn't it? He's an aeroplane. Hopefully, he's going to blow these apart. Early on in the season, to be fair, I was fully like Honeysuckle. I wanted to beat him. I'm desperate for her to beat him because this hype over this Constitution Hill is just massive. And it was almost like he's done nothing yet. He's won a Supreme, fair enough, and he won it in a good time, all that sort of stuff. But Honeysuckle's the champ, and it's all just unfolded complete opposite to what we thought might happen. And it's just one of them things, and she's going to, obviously, the race that we're going to go on to next. And that's the Mares Hurdle, which is looking a pretty deep race, if I'm honest with you, Joe.
Yeah, it is.
You've got Honeysuckle 9-4, Epperson 7-2, Rock 7-2, Brandy Love 6-1, Echoes in Rain 7-1, Love Envoi 7-1, and 9-1, 10-1 the rest. So what are your thoughts on this one? I've got a pretty strong opinion on this one myself, but I'm not sure you'll agree, so I'm interested to see what your thoughts are.
I do too, and I really like Echoes in Rain.
Oh my. Oh,
really like Echoes in Rain. I thought it was very impressive the last day. Very, very impressive the last day. Arguably not beat a lot, but I thought...
Did you not say she only sort of does it in grade 2? The step up, she normally comes up short, doesn't she?
You could say that, but I feel like it's definitely the value at 7-1. Went to Curragh, come second, still has the speed. Then fell the time after, which you could say not messed with her, but obviously going from flat, a high grade flat race to jumps is a massive difference. And then comes out again in January at Naas and bolts up. I think that would be the pick for me in terms of prices, each way value. I think she's got a lot to offer. There's arguably the camp that Marie's Rock might go the stairs.
Yeah, I think that's looking likely. I think, to be honest with you, that's what I'm hearing as well.
Yeah. So then she goes to Marie's Rock. Echoes in Rain goes to 4th favourite if she pulls out. Brandy Love. I think you like her, but there's question marks over her last run. Yeah. And Love.
I'll answer them questions in a minute. Carry on.
And Love Envoi arguably wants heavy soft ground, which I don't think he's going to get. And the question is, Honeysuckle. She's had plenty in hand, but she's had a bit of weight allowance. There's still questions, and I think Echoes in Rain's on the improve, and that'll be my selection each way.
Fair enough. I'm going to give absolutely no chance to Echoes in Rain in this. I think you've got that big time wrong, but fair enough. Obviously, Honeysuckle, to me, again, it's not a massively big betting race. If Honeysuckle wins, I will be screaming my head off. That's given for most people. Obviously, I think Marie's Rock's going to the stayers, so if she were going in, I would have given her a massive chance to back up last year's win. But obviously, they've got Epperton, so they're going to give her a chance in the stairs hurdle, which is fair enough. She's got a massive chance in that, but we'll come on to that later. I agree with you on Love Envoy. I think she probably needs plenty of cut in the ground, bit of deep ground. I don't think it's going to be that. They're due a bit of rain, but I don't think they're due enough, to be honest. So I'd probably write her off, especially at the same price. Well, to be fair, I'd probably give Echoes in. She'll beat Love Envoy, put it that way. I'll give you one there.
Yeah. I just think she's a value, to be honest, mate. I really do.
Well, I'm on to my selection, and I'm going to stick with sort of the enigma that is Brandy Love. I just think the way she beat Love Envoy last year, later on in the season, was just fantastic, and she's got that staying power. She jumps left, but I think Cheltenham's going to bring all sorts of improvement on her. That last run, I think you've got to look at everything that was against her. She was giving weight away. She was going against race fit horses, going the wrong way around. She come wide on the bench. She jumped left, and Paul just didn't even touch her, to be honest. And
no, 100%. I agree with that.
She just come home in her own time. Do you know what I mean? And I get, Queensbrook.
She was giving a lot of weight away that day, though. And I did hear, I seen it as well. I thought Paul Townend was very animated for what he asked of her.
Well, that's what I mean. I think they just wanted to knock the freshness out of her. She's obviously been off. Get her freshened up and get her ready for Cheltenham. And I think sort of 6-1. I think they pushed her out to 10-1 straight after the race. I thought that was a crazy price, to be honest. A big overreaction on that. And she's definitely better than that, I think, to be honest. And I think if they've got her right, she's got a right chance. And my sort of head says Brandy Love, but my heart says Honeysuckle. To be honest, I'm praying Honeysuckle wins just so she gets to go out as a winner because she deserves it.
Yeah, like you said there, not a massive betting race for me, but if I've got to have a small bet, it would be Echoes in Rain each way.
Fair enough. I like it. Right, we'll go on to the last race of the first day, which will be the National Hunt Chase. A little bit of a muddling race, isn't it, really? It's become a bit messy. Obviously, you've got Short Price Galliard Dimmers Neil at 11-10 currently. You've got the stablemate, same owners, Ramillies, 5-1. Churchtown Warrior 13-2, Marley Mission 7-1, Chemical Ennis 7-1, and I won't mention the rest because they're not really that good. I'll set us off here if you want. I'm thinking if Galliard de Mesnil does go here, he should win this easy. He's miles clear of this lot. He's already beaten Churchtown Warrior by a mile. Marley Mission's been beaten by Churchtown Warrior last time out. Chemical Energy looked good early on in the season, but has not really give us anything else to say he's going to go win this. His jumping's just... I'm not a fan of his jumping, to be honest. I'm not sure if he's going to be a cope with it here, but again... Yeah, I just think Galliard de Mesnil wins. What do you think?
100%. I think he's a class above, stays all day, jumps well. I think Paul will just have an easy time on him, really. I think he's a simple horse as well, isn't he? Get him out, jump in, and I think he'll take it up. To be fair, I think this one should be a lot shorter than what he is.
Yeah, and to be fair, the only other one I liked previously was Marley Mission. I quite like Marley Mission. When he did that, when he got his win at Navan, I thought it looked quite impressive, and I thought this one could actually improve on and be a real challenger to Galliard de Mesnil. But the run against Churchtown Warrior just let it down for me, I think. I know he got pestered for the lead sort of thing, which wouldn't have helped. I'd maybe give him an each way squeak with it being in a small field. If he gets his own way up front, potentially. If he gets himself in a rhythm, he might have a good chance. But yeah, I think Galliard de Mesnil for me should be everyone's banker on the first day, to be honest, and probably finishes off any hackers from a lot of people. So if he gets beat, it'll be an interesting first day because there'll be a lot of crying faces, I think. What do you think? Yeah,
100%. I'm with Galliard de Mesnil, and I think, like you said there, especially with the prices, I know naps fly around a lot, like nap this, nap that. I think Conhill is probably the most likely winner of the day. However, at the value, I think I would definitely be going Galliard de Mesnil with my nap.
Nice, I like it. So you nap for first day. We could do that, to be fair. Naps. First day nap. Are you saying Conhill? You're not going to go...
Galliard de Mesnil.
Oh, you're going Galliard de Mesnil, sorry. Oh, interesting. All right, well, I'll go for... my nap will be Marine National in the Supreme. I'll go for it. Let's get stuck in, lad. How about that? Right. Going on to day 2. And we'll start with, obviously, race 1, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Now, this is probably turning out to be one of the best races of the week, I'd say. looking at how deep it is. You know, when you've got the likes of Hermes Allen in there, 11-4, Imperial Pass 3-1. Oh, it's might go further. Imperial Pass actually. Gaelic Warrior 4-1, Good Land 5-1, Fast Sal Vegas in here 6-1, Champ Kylie 6-1. 8-1. In the Pocket 12-1, Absolute Notion 16-1, 16-1. The rest. What are your thoughts on the Ballymore then, mate?
My thoughts. I'm sticking with Barry O'Connell. I love Good Land. The last day, I thought he was so impressive. Travelled well, last off the bridle, looked like he idled a bit in front. As soon as the horse come next to him, he just carried on running. The form has been boosted, and I think a few of these in here could be questionable. I think Gaelic Warriors, he's a big baby, isn't he? He's a big
can't have him,
baby.
to be fair.
No.
That jumping's just crazy, isn't it, that jumping?
Yeah, I think he's definitely value. I put a bet on him today, actually, because I really do think 5-1 will be a lot shorter. I think he'll go off 3-2-1. It definitely won't be an each way price. And I think
the money will come in for him, Good Land.
100%. I think the Irish are going to be strong on him. I think Barry O'Connell has got two good things this year.
He certainly talks good game, does old Barry on the old social medias, doesn't he? He's doing a few interviews, gets stuck in, he says, won't lose, all that.
I mean, you've got to think he's going to look like a tool, isn't he, if he's got them both completely wrong. I think both of his horses have got improvement, and I'm looking forward to them. And like you say, I'm looking forward to this race. It's not a huge betting race for me, but I've got a nice bet on Good Land. What's your thoughts, mate?
Good lad. Good lad for Good Land. Yeah, you know, there's some good types in here. You know, Hermes Allen, the Challo winner. A lot of winners have come out of that Challo, but obviously the sort of the way Challo winners go in the Cheltenham Festival is not normally very good.
No.
Imperial Pass is the interesting one. Seen a lot of people talking him up lately, especially on a few of the other preview nights. But to me, he's just a little bit too short. I'd say he's won a couple of decent races, but you know, on heavy ground. You know, the Nace Maiden were a poor race, big step up here early in his career. For me, he's going to be an horse for next year. I'm not sure he's going to. I think he's going to get a bit lit up in this.
Yeah,
I think he's a bit took off his feet. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, 1-3, he won the last day. He was expected to win and win well, and he done that. But I feel like Good Land's got the form. I mean, like you say there, he could be anything, but I feel like Good Land beats him to that. Just a quick mention of one horse in the Pocket. I've got a small each way on too. I like this one. I think he ran a good race last time. I think the distance should improve him. The only thing can be a bit babyish. When he beat 3-card Bragg, he ran around before the line. I think he still had a lot in the tank, and Rachel said after the race that she got there too early, blah-de-blah. I think if he gets a nice lead, he could finish a place, but like I say, my bet's Good Land.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on Good Land, to be fair. It looked really talented. That DRF run was really good. I love the way he travelled, he jumped, come to the front, took it up off where we've all been caught, and they weren't going to catch him, but they were staying up all the way to the line. Run through the line, looked really impressive. I agree with you. I think in the Pocket's probably got a great chance. I think he could definitely follow him home. I think that little turn, he seems to have a bit of a turn of pace to him. But like you say on that last run where he beat 3-card Bragg, oh sorry, not the last run, but the 3-card Bragg race, I was a little bit. I didn't think it looked like he was going to stay. I thought I think it stretched in the trip, but the way he does travel, if he can get himself covered up, he could come a little bit later on, like you say. Rachel sort of said I was holding on to him as long as I possibly could. I didn't want him to go too early. Obviously, there were hurdles taken out. It was a little bit of a messy race, but he did look, and I think sort of 12-1 mark. He is a good each way price, to be fair, but I think Good Land is probably a good thing for me. I'm in your camp with that, and I think he'll go and win, and hopefully it pulls up the O'Connell double. The two,
hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, are both started with Barry O'Connell winners.
I'm a little bit like they'll either both win or both pull up.
Yeah, 100%. And I think
it's all or nothing, isn't it?
I think he'd be a very popular man if the double comes in.
Oh, a bit more hated man in Cheltenham if they don't win. Right, the Brown Advisory, Novices Chase, 3 mile old course. We've got Jerry Colombe 7-4, Mighty Potter won't go here 7-2. The Real Whacker 9-2. Sir Gerhard 5-1. Time Hill 11-2. And then you're into 6-1 Bar, Gellard, Demiz, Niels, things like that. But they'll probably go National Hunt Chase. Short price favour again. Jerry Colon, what do you think on his chances in this?
He knows
Are you with him or against him?
But I'm against for the value.
Interesting.
Yeah, against. Now, this horse is probably going to surprise you. Time Hill. I really like Time Hill. I think
you'd be surprised if you saw my notes then saying that. I've got
Very
him bolded.
very-
I've got him bolded.
Very,
Go on.
very classy horse. I think, he's going to stay the trip, 3 mile. My only doubt with Time Hill is the obstacles. The day before last, he wasn't very efficient. He looked to turn a corner the last day. The form hasn't been boosted as such with McFabulous, but he's beaten by 15 lengths. He's stayed on. He's won comfortably. I just think if he was in the stairs, he'd be a very short price. I think if he jumps, and I think with this one, you'll probably know within the first two, three fences, if he jumps them well and gets in a rhythm, I can see him staying right the way at the line, and I could see him giving Jerry Colomb a big problem. And I think at the prices, he's definitely the value in the race.
Yeah, I think you've got a good pick there. Time Hill, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Champ.
Yeah.
How we know he stays. He's got good form over hurdles. We know he stays the 3 miles. But like you say, it's whether he can jump over the obstacles, and obviously the end of the game is jumping. But like Champ's proven you don't actually have to jump very well to win this sort of race. But
no,
the more I do think about it, and the more I've looked at Jerry Colomb, I think I'm going to get stuck into Jerry Colomb. To be honest, I think the Sandown run was impressive. We all thought he was heavy ground dependent. He's gone to Sandown on sort of good to soft ground, and he's on a shorter trip as well, and he's shown a little bit of a turn of foot, and he's outstayed him up the Sandown straight. So I think he's going to come here. I think he's going to get okay ground for him. I think he obviously not as ground dependent as we thought, and I think he's going to go and win. I think he's a bit of a good thing, to be honest. I don't think Time. Oh, obviously jumping Time Hill. I think it will undo him. To be honest, I couldn't give a squeak to the real whacker. I think he's a bit overrated.
No. Yeah.
Sir Gerhard, the other one. I don't like him for this either. I think coming into this off one run where he jumped poorly. I thought last year's Ballymore, he got a bit of a freebie. It was an absolute monsoon. I was stood there absolutely soaking wet, and he just got a freebie up front, and they couldn't get to him. I don't think he'll go well in this. Personally, I think this will skip Cheltenham and wait for the later festivals, but it looks like they are going to go here. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's going to be a short winner for the Irish in Jerry Colomb.
Like I say, I do like Jerry, but I think Time Hill's probably, the value. I mean, for me, if I could bet and play, I'd be waiting to see the first 2 fences. If he smacks one, I'm not on him. But I do think he's a value, and I can see if he gets in a rhythm, there's no reason he can't stay the 3 mile, because he's done it before. He's had a nice race and a good layoff. He'll be fresh, which he wants. But like I do say, I mean, Jerry Colomb's just got 1-1-1-1-1-1-1 next to his form. The guy knows how to win.
Yeah.
Sandown's probably helped because, recently as well, a lot of the Irish horses, some of them don't perform over in England, and this lad does. So there's not many questions to be asked of him. You just hope he goes and wins on the day. So for me, my pick for this one is my pick is Time Hill each way, but I would have a small little forecast. Jerry Colomb, Time Hill second.
Oh, tasty. That's probably the most realistic outcome of the race, to be fair. So yeah, happy with that one. Next one then, the Champion Chase. I think we're going to be split here, but you've got Energumene 15-8. You've got Edward Stone 15-8. I can't even say this one. Editor de Gite 13-2. Gentleman de Me 9-1. Blue Lord 10-1. 20-1. The rest. Are you Energumene, or are you Edward Stone, or are you something else?
I am Energumene. I think he didn't show himself the last day. I think he all sort of just let him bowl on, but nipped him back after the fence. I feel when I've watched him run his good races, he's had plenty of room to jump forward, and this is another one who gains lengths at fences. Every time he jumped, he was jumping into the back and he was getting pulled back, jumping, and he did set him up a bit. When you watch the race back, he was very free in the hands, which you could say took the sting out of him. I think he smashed the last, which is not normally like him, really. He's normally a really good jumper.
Yeah, with a bad jump, wasn't it?
Really bad jump. I think if they get him right, it could be a real good thing. I think the price is very acceptable for him. I think, especially when I heard Paul come off the track and say to Willie that he wouldn't get off his horse for any other, and Willie come out and said he was very fresh. We're pretty happy with the run, which I didn't expect, because the past few times, I know with Lossymouth, he was pretty raging when it lost. So I think he's got a good chance. And I would also give a mention to the one we struggle to say, Editor de G. He beat Nubinegra by 10 lengths, I think, that day, which he was very impressive. And then he's gone and beat these two horses. Now, you could say he had a freebie. You could say Edward Stone, Tom Cannon looked for an Ergamine instead of Editor de G and lost in the race. You could say an Ergamine was free. But at the end of the day, they got beat by the horse. And I feel like what price is he now? 15 to 2, 8 to 1 something?
Editor de G is 13 to 2.
13 to 2. I think he's probably the most likely third favourite, well, most likely horse to place, and I think he's a solid place bet. But for me, I'm still in the Mullins camp, and I think there's a lot of improvement on the last run, and I think we're going to clash on this one. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, I think we are. I think I'm fully in the Edward Stone camp. I think the run last time, he obviously held him up. He held him up in the Editor de G race before when he fell. It's just a silly mistake, but I totally put a line through that. I personally think that they were looking at that race, the result, and thinking, when it comes to the Cheltenham race, they were thinking, we've got Editor de G in hand here. All we need to do is follow in Ergamine and we'll get this race won. And before you know it, it will just come away from him. But the turn of foot that Edward Stone showed for me to get up alongside Editor de G, making up all that ground, which was quite impressive. And he just left himself a little bit too much to do and there's enough left in the tank. I think a race run differently, I think the form would have been reversed. In terms of an Ergamine, I sort of went back through the form, and he's obviously got great cruising speed. He's jumping. His asset is his jumping, and I don't really know why they've run him like they did. I thought they should just bounce him out in front and go for it and let them catch him. A little bit like the Ascot race against Shishkin, where he went out in front. Everything else was gone apart from Shishkin in that race. And you could say after that, he gets a freebie in the championship. Shishkin obviously bombs out. Another monsoon race. He then goes back to Ireland and beats Shakan, who's probably over the hill by now. And I just think he's won a nothing race first time out, and he's come into this and he's obviously been beaten. To me, it's a little bit like Vassal Vega, the bomb out, and I can't really go in again. It just sort of put me off, and I've proper grown to like Edward Stone. I think he travels and he jumps really well, and he's just his turn of foot at the end. I think he's going to have too much pace for this slot. I really do. The only other one I'd maybe give a little bit of a mention is probably Gentleman de Me each way at sort of 9 to 1. You know, it was very impressive last time out. He would have to take another step forward, I think, but he's definitely seems to be a bit of a spring horse. Obviously, he beat Edward Stone at Aintree last year, the end of last year. Edward Stone obviously come back off the Arkle win, where, to be fair, when he won the Arkle, he was nearly brought down in the Arkle, if you remember, and he still got up to one, so he's got a little bit in the engine. And I just think he's going to go I think he's going to go and win, and I really do. So I think 15 to 8 is a good price. I'm happy to take that. And I'm happy to see him go and beat an Ergamine and send him packing back to Ireland with old Mullins.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I was going to say there, I did have an Ergamine last year, and obviously both horses have the form. I would probably say an Ergamine's form in the runs look a bit better. He jumps well, and like you say, he's got a real impressive turn of foot. I just think, for me, in the last run, when I watch it, now both horses got the tactics wrong. Edward Stone had a lot of ground to make up, and I heard Ruby Walsh say this. It's very hard to make ground up from the back of the pack when other horses are accelerating, because you've got like twice the distance to sort of make up, and there's a lot of energy preserved on the horse. Now that's the thing which boiled down for me. I think if an Ergamine bulls out, you know, I know he done it in the championships, but like you said, Shishkin bombed out. There was no real depth in the race. But if he bulls on and he just bulls on high cruising speed, I do think Edwardstone could have a bit too much to find up that Cheltenham hill, personally. But it's up for debate. I think it's going to set up for a real good race, and I think one could comfortably beat the other, my opinion.
No, I'd probably agree with that. I think as long as they both get there and they both run the races, hopefully we'll have a bit of a good clash and we can put it to bed once and for all, and one of them will come out a worthy winner in the end.
100%.
Right, next one, the cross country. We're going to cross country next, and this is obviously was everyone's banker of the festival, I reckon, and now it's probably a little bit up in the air. I'd have thought. We've got Delta Work 11-10. We've got Galvin, the flying the ointment at 5-2. Franco Deport 7-1, back on the last 16-1, 20-1. The rest. What do you think on this? Are we sticking with Delta Work, or is it going to be like last? Is it going to be like last year? Tiger last year.
Sticking with Delta Work. I think. Well, I did see Coddy on the podcast say that Galvin schooled very well. He's a very high class horse. I just think Delta Work's been there. He's done it. You know, to be fair, I know a lot of people were turning up the nose about his last run, but I don't think it was too bad. The way he gave away, the jockey that was on board. The thing for Delta Work for me is he always runs a good race and his jumping's impeccable. And I think at Cheltenham, you've got to have that, especially in the cross country. You've got that many obstacles. You've got to be so versatile, so light on your feet for a horse. And I think he does that well. And he stayed against Tiger. Would he won last year if it was good ground? I don't think so.
I suppose that'd be my little argument. That my little question back to you. Why you going on about that? Is the ground going to come up a little bit too good for him if somebody like Galvin's in there?
Yeah, see, I completely know what you're saying, but he won. It wasn't an unbelievable race, but he did win on yielding at Punchestown over 3 mile one, the cross country there. I just think he's been there and done that for me, and that. He'd done it fresh last year, which obviously Galvin could do this year, and there's a reason they've put him in. But I'm going to stick with a boy. In the middle, I can see the scarf. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do agree. Obviously, it was heartbreak last year with Tiger Roll. I couldn't believe it. The whole ground going against him. To be fair, I'd already got Tiger Roll beat in that race with the ground. The ground obviously was terrible. And just the fact that he come there travelling like he did, I was absolutely heartbroken to see Delta Work and Jack Kennedy pointing his finger in the air as he run past me. But a little bit of a similar situation, like I said, Delta Work coming at this with Galvin. He's put Galvin in there. Obviously, it seems a bit of an afterthought with Galvin, similar to what happened last year with Delta Work. But I think Delta Work's probably going to have too much experience over the cross country. I think the run at Cheltenham last time, giving all that weight away, was a really good run. And I don't mind him getting beat in that race, because I always think if he gets close in that race, giving all that weight away, come travelling like the winner anyway, he just got slightly outstayed towards the end. I don't, like I said, the ground might be sort of good to soft maybe, but I don't think it's too bad for him. He's miles ahead of the rest. The only one in the race is obviously Galvin, but Galvin, like says, he might be schooling okay and all that, that's fine, but he's got to actually do it on the track. And until that point, we've got to stick with Delta Work, I think, and I'm happy to stick him probably in a few hackers we're going to have on the day and across the week. And if he don't win and Galvin wins, well, I think we'll just have to take it on chin, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, I'm just looking through his form there, and he's been beaten 60 lengths nearly in his last 2 races.
Yeah, he's sort of bombed out, hasn't he, at that level?
For me, yeah, he's sort of bombed out. Like I say, I'm repeating it again. I watched the Coddy podcast, and I'd seen that they took him dressage. for dressage, and they said he's strengthened up a bit. But like you said there, I think for me, and what is so important is, and the difference I think will be on the day, Delta Work's been in for the race since he won it last year. And I think it's a bit of an afterthought for Galvin, and I can see Galvin bombing out.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Or they just put him out back and let him trot round, which is what they should have done with Delta Work last year.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Right, next race then. Last race on the Wednesday, the Champion Bumper. And as I'm looking down at the prices, actually, A Dream to Share has gone favourite at 4-1. It's For Me, 4-1. Fun, 8-1. Chaper de Soleil, 9-1. Better Days Ahead, 12-1. Western Diego, 12-1. Factifal, 12-1. 16-1. The rest. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, It's For Me was up to sort of 3-1 favourites, drifting out a touch now.
So for me, bit of a strange one. I've not really got a strong opinion on it. I don't think it's a tough race this year because last year you knew Facile Vega was Mullins' favourite, and Mullins sold a strong hand in this every year.
He's got 14 entered in it this year at the moment.
No one knows who he's. No one really has a sort of inkling. I know fun for me, I think is probably Mullins' best chance.
Do you think I sort of heard a rumbling that she wasn't going to go here? I think she's a mare fun. She could go to some other race potentially, but I may be wrong.
Maybe. I just had her down as probably one of the most likely winners. Gets weight from the rest. Great turn of foot the last day. Probably should come on from that run. So I did like that run. Obviously off for a while before that as well. Lily Dubelair, think
Lily de Burley,
yeah, is not a bad yardstick really. But for me, which I think is a bit of value, I'm going to go for Better Days Ahead.
Oh yeah,
I think it's Elliot's best horse. I was impressed the last day. Took a keen hold. The question for me all race was, will he find anything? Will he find anything? And I think Coddy gave him a little shake of the reins and he just took them all up. The ground that day was, let's say, bogging to put it on the nice side, and I do think he'll improve. I think he'll improve for the ground too. And for me, the deciding factor for me was, it's Gordon Elliott's best horse.
Yeah, the Better Days Ahead beat Chapeau de Soleil. That's that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Chapeau de Soleil is also smaller in the market, so I think this is definitely the value. Yeah,
I'm surprised because, to be fair, I'm in agreement with you. I'd have Better Days Ahead. You've got Better Days Ahead 12-1, Chapeau de Soleil at 9-1. I'd have Better Days Ahead over Chapeau de Soleil, to be honest. I know he didn't go all Chapeau de Soleil's way and they were staying on, but I think Better Days Ahead, they were never getting to him. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, 100%.
For me in this race, like I say, it's a little bit of a minefield. A Dream to Share's obviously gone favourite after being bought by JP. And obviously beating Factifile at DRF. That was quite impressive. There were a lot of people touting Factifile, but obviously disappointed. And again, I think Factifile is probably going to be one for next season. But to me, when you talk about the Champion Bumper and you look at the last few winners, you want something that's a little bit of a staying type, not so much a speed type. You've got the likes of Facile Vega, Envolen, Sir Gerhard, and the last sort of 3 out of 4 winners that they're all now running over longer trips. So for me, I was sort of looking for a staying type, and the one that I fell on was Western Diego at 12-1. I quite like this one. Has been impressive over further on his last run. Stays and travels well, and I think he'd be a massive player in this. Like I say, it's a bit of a minefield. It's a bit of a throw a dart at it, see what comes out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a punt on Western Diego. And the only other one I'm going to give a mention to is obviously Queen's Gamble. Queen's Gamble's one that I really like from the start. She's got Cheltenham form. She gets the weight on a lot of these. She travels really well. She'll love the hill. She's obviously been there and done it already up the hill. She was slightly disappointing last time. But again, I think giving weight away, the race wasn't run to suit. She was out in front way too early. I just think I'd put a complete line through that and I'd give Queen's Gamble a little squeak at 16-1. And that's probably about it. It's for me is quite strong, but again, sometimes when you see bumper horses and the winning race on the bridle, it's a little bit like Kilcrow-esque. Oh, this is an amazing horse. Look, it's won a bumper off the bridle. Can it go and do it in a champion bumper? Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. But
100%.
no, I think my two little darts will be Western Diego and Queen's Gamble on the champion bumper.
Yeah, and I think mine's each way definitely Better Days Ahead. And just a little pointer, Better Days Ahead won his point-to-point over 3 mile very cosily.
Well, there you go. That could be a little line into that. So Better Days Ahead could be a squeak there then.
Yeah.
What would go on then? So day 2, what would your nap be for day 2?
My nap at the current prices is definitely Goodland.
Goodland.
Yeah.
For the nap, and I will nap Edward Stone in the champion chase. I think he's got an absolutely unbelievable chance. Right, moving on to day 3 next, and we'll start with the Turners Novices Chase. Another one with a bit of a short price favourite in here. You've got obviously Mighty Potter at 11-8, El Fabiola 5-2. Won't go away, I wouldn't have thought. Banbridge 7-2, Appreciated 9-2, Sir Gerhard 7-1, 12-1, Stage Star. The rest, what are your thoughts on the Turners? Is Mighty Potter going to absolutely bolt up?
I think he is, mate. I think he is. I really do. I think, like you said, when you read some of them out there, I'm thinking El Fabiolo. No, he's not going. I think a lot of the top of the market here is going to go elsewhere. And I said this today, I think this guy's going to be 4-7 come the day. He's going to be well backed. The Irish fancy him. Gordon Elliott loves him. Coddy's eyes lit up when he was mentioned. I think everything's there. He's going for the Turners. And like I say, when you look through not the declarations because they're not out yet, but you look at the prices and I think he's not going, that horse isn't going. I think it'll be a very one-sided race come the day, and I'm pretty confident that this guy will get the job done.
No, I agree with you on this. He just looked so good last time out. The DRF run, his jumping was just electric. I was taken back, to be honest. I thought it'd be a lot closer race, and he just jumped away, and he took off, and it worked for catching. And I think if he comes here in the same form, obviously he's got that one run at Cheltenham in the Supreme last year where he bombed out, but I just completely forget that. He was a younger horse. He's obviously grown up now. He's got his temperament about him. And I do agree with you. I think he's going to absolutely bolt up in here. Now, Fabiola don't go in here, although I think he should. Banbridge was the only other one back at Cheltenham on better ground. He'd probably have a squeak, but again, he's not really. If he'd have been each way price now, I probably would say he's a good each way bet. But at 7-2, I probably won't go anywhere near him. Appreciate it. Back up in trip 9-2 would probably be the each way playing here. Obviously, the Irish Arkle, too short a trip, got completely took off his feet. But again, look, he's a 9-year-old in a novice chase. I think he's just come to it too late. I think they've basically just been unlucky with him. Everything come too late. There's obviously been injuries, champion hurdle off one run just didn't work. Gone novice chasing this year, and I just think it's a little bit too late for him. And I think Mighty Potter's I think 11-8, he probably should be evens at least, maybe less by now, to be honest, from what we've seen. But
yeah, I think that's value, to be fair. When you look at other favourites around that price, I mean, Delta Works odds on, you look at horses like that, and I'm thinking, well, Mighty Potter, you've got, Banbridge is a danger, but is he dangerous to him? I don't think so. I think this guy wins comfortably. El Fabiolo put Banbridge away by 10 lengths and comfortably beat him. Like you say, the last day, Mighty Potter did look absolutely electric. He beat Gaia Dumanil by nine and a bit lengths.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's even money favourite for the National Hunt Chase, albeit this is a bit of a stronger race. I still do think come the day, the horses that are going to be lining up are going to be pretty minimal and pretty weak compared to this one. So, confident on this one. Well, really confident in this one. I think Mighty Potter will do the business.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on that, mate, completely. I think Banbridge will probably take him along and just tee it up for him perfectly, to be 100%. Honest. The Ryanair next, and one that was a pretty open race before a couple of weeks ago. We've obviously now got a short price favourite where we had one before at Allaho until he was obviously injured, which was unfortunate on his packs. If it had been Allaho in here still, we'd have had one race here, I tell you that. But we've obviously got Shishkin 8-11 on now. Conflated 11-2. Blue Lord 11-2. Janadil 8-1. 10-1 Fury Road and 12-1 the rest. There's not much else to give a mention to in there, but do we think Shishkin can repeat the last run? Sorry,
I hope so, mate. I really do. I mean, to be fair, it's not one I'd be having much money on if I was betting at all. I mean, you look through here, you've got MVLN who could bomb out. You've got Conflated, who, for me, is probably one of the safe bets. Shishkin, for me, if Shishkin turns up and it's the Shishkin that we all know, Shishkin wins. And if that was the case, if you forget the pull-up and the third, I mean, what is she going to be? Constitution Hill's price 1-3. The only doubt you could have is at Cheltenham last year, but I think it'll be completely different. And I'm hoping to see Shishkin get one on the board for England. I mean, for me, it's a bit like Honeysuckle. You know, you just want these horses to win, don't you? You want to see them back to their best. So for me, not a big bet, but Shishkin would be the one I want.
No, I do agree with that. I think, again, it's like Honeysuckle, like you say. It's one of them where you just love to see him come up the hill and win. I want to see Nicky Henderson crying again with happiness. But obviously it would be a little bit of a worry the way he's been running lately. And can he back it up? Can he do it again? 3 weeks out from Cheltenham, it was a biggish run. Would it have took a lot out of him? Probably not. It's not like he didn't even look out of second gear, to be fair, going up the hill past Pickdory. But you got to look at the rest of the field. You got horses like Blue Lord, who bombed out last time. I couldn't be touching him with a barge pole, to be fair. You just don't know what Blue Lord's going to turn up.
No.
Conflated again. Probably goes Gold Cup, to be honest. I'm not sure they're going to run here. Would have gone close last year if it had stayed up, but obviously fell. I think that's probably their chance in the Gold Cup. They're going to go for that. Janadil's probably the interesting one. Obviously, you had Horton Colors was being touted for this, and last time out, they were talking about him being supplemented for this. And obviously, he's gone out and been battered by Janadil, who looked fat as a pig, apparently, according to the people on course on the day. So it'd be interesting to see Janadil come on for that run again. Second in it last year, poor form after that, but maybe comes alive a little bit in the spring. So I'd probably have Janadil to fill the place. The only other one I would give a mention to is another horse that you're probably going to crease when I tell you this, but
Envoy
Hitman at 22-1. I backed him for the King George. I thought it was going to be a shot. I thought he was going to go real good in the King George. I think I even backed that there was a special King George Ryanair double when there was obviously no Allaho about. But I'm going to forgive him that run. But I think coming here, he's got a little bit of an each way chance, and hopefully he can go and fill a place. But maybe not. I'm going to regret that. But I think for me, Shishkin, I hope he wins. We're probably not going to have out on him. Probably not going to have out in the race, to be fair, in the end. But if I'm going to pick out, it'll be Janadil each way as the main bet, or just watch Shishkin do his thing.
That'll be me, mate. That'll be me watching Shishkin. And to be fair, I'd like to see MV Allen run a good race. I don't think we've seen the true MV Allen we have seen, since he left Gordon's Yard, really. But for me, like I say, it's more of a watching race, this one. It's not one I'll be getting stuck into, really, in terms of the betting wise. So, yeah, that's
to be fair, actually, there was other one I was going to mention. I'll just check my notes again. But Fury Road, who had the good run behind Statler and Galopin Deschamps last time, coming back down in trip, could maybe play to his hands. He was obviously near the front with Galopin Deschamps as though coming to the last, so he could maybe have a squeak, but maybe he's not got the pace for it, to be fair. But we'll see. But yeah, Shishkin for me, I think. Hopefully he'll go and win.
Yep.
Right. An interesting one after potentially some of the news we've heard today, but the Stayers Hurdle.
You've got the right colours on tonight.
Yeah, that's the only black and white top I had. That's a scarf I've not actually got yet, but I might have after next week. So the market currently, we've got Blazing Cow 3-1, Tiupu 4-1, Marie's Rock 9-2, Flooring Porter 6-1, Home by the Lee 6-1, 10-1 the rest. Horses like Cigar High, Classical Dream, Gold Sweet, Ashdale, Bob, Paisley Park. Who are we on here, Joe?
Flooring Porter.
Flooring Porter. Gio.
Porter, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of question marks in this race. You know, Tiupu, impressive, very impressive.
Can't
Has
have
she,
Tiupu at all.
no, has he been that much? No. Marie's Rock, I feel like would be suited over the shorter trip. I was very surprised when I heard this for the Stays. I think they're taking her here, sorry, because they are seeing this as a big opportunity. If you look, arguably Foreign Porter's not fit, Blazing Cal now question marks, Tiupu could be going favourite, Classical Dreams an absolute loop. So for me, there's a lot of questions. I mean, real there could be a lot of horses turning up here. You know, you're looking through the list: Dashel Drasher, Paisley Park 14-1. I'd love to see Paisley win, but I don't think it'll happen. I just think Florin Porter every year question marks going in. Well, the last 2 years question marks going in. Is he fit? Is he fit? And a different animal turns up at Cheltenham. Gavin Cromwell always has him perfect, and he's just setting the stars for me now. He's come back third time, record breaking time. Always been written off now. Little injury, comes back. I mean, the form's been boosted on the first run he had. The fourth at Navan, home by the Lee, Bob Ollinger, no good. But I felt like both days he set off, he done what he needed to do, and I don't think he was there to win both days, to be honest. I really don't. I think it was fitness. And I'm hoping, come Cheltenham, he stays on one track, because I know he likes to drift and he wins.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. I think Blazing Cal's obviously completely up in the air. The Boyne Hurdle was a really good run. To be off that long and to come and do that, I was impressed, to be honest with you.
100%.
But I just, at the prices now, you know, you're talking 3-1. You just don't know, is he going to turn up? There's on about injuries. I've got having a cut here. I've got this. You just don't know what's going to go. So you can't really touch them. Obviously, if you want to take non-runner, no, I bet you could do. But
yeah, I think that would be the bet for me anyway, because, I mean, I'm hearing that he's not going. That's what I've heard. And they wouldn't have spoke out if they didn't think he wasn't going to make it for me. Like you say there, we mentioned Brandy Love and horses like that who've had a long time out, and it's very hard to get a horse right. But for me, it wasn't going to be a betting race as much as I did want Florin Porter, and I've got him on anti-post on the day I wasn't going to put much on. But now you're looking at the depth. I think Florin Porter for me.
Yeah, like I say, I'll go through a couple of them. I think Tiupu, I can't have him at all. I think he needs soft ground, or probably worse than that. I think a better ground stay as hurdle. I think he'll get took off his feet. I think he'll finish out the back of the telly. I think Home by the Lee is going a little bit under the radar. I think obviously at Navan, he beat Bob Ollinger, who's completely gone at the game. He beat unfit Florin Porter. He beat Ashdale Bob, who doesn't stay. Leopardstown run again. It was Ashdale Bob. You know, Florin Porter's just not been firing this season.
No.
I think it's just unfortunate for Florin Porter. But again, it's a little bit like, you know, they've got owners and a trainer in there who's probably not that fussed about them sort of races. They're aiming that horse at one race and one race only. And if he does turn up on the day, you've got to give him a chance. I tell you now, if he does turn up on the day, he ain't going to be 6-1. So if you want an each-way price on Florin Porter, I'm probably taking that now, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think Classical Dream and that can't have him for toffee. The one, obviously, Marie's Rock is the big one for me. I think the sort of flying the ointment at an each-way price, 9-2, you might get 5-1, but do you know what? I've been impressed by her. I thought she'd been an absolute good thing in the mares if she'd have gone there. She travels unbelievably. You know, she won the mares last year. She's backed it up at Punchestown, which is always tough to do. Not many horses can win at Cheltenham and go win at Punchestown, so that was impressive, beating Epton. She then reappears at Cheltenham this year, and she batters some nice types on the bridle for me at 3 Mile. I think it suited her perfectly. And she obviously gets the weight allowance. She loves Cheltenham. She goes at the track. I do think she's got a great chance. And I think I'd have Florin Porter each way, and I'd have Marie's Rock each way. I think you've got to take the top two on in the market. And I think it'll be one of them two. It'll be Florian Porter or Marie's Rock that win this race for me.
100%. I think the point you just said there about winning over in Ireland, Nicky doesn't send many over to Ireland at all, does he? So I think the camp really do like this one. And like you said, I think she was a good thing for the mares. So for them to send her here, they must be seeing something different at home. So, like you say, it's Florian Porter Hart, Marie's Rock could be a good thing. You don't know yet. The trip's a question mark.
Well, like I say, for me, I think
was a bit free. Was it a last race when she won? She was a bit free at the start. I know she did.
Marie's Rock.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought she seemed to just travel into it, come to the end. I think, and I thought she just looked like she was going to stay all day long, and the fact that she loves the track, and like you say, Nicky sent her and Epperton over to Ireland, and I think if Epperton were going for the champion hurdle, Marie's Rock would be in the mares hurdle. I think, but obviously now Epperton's going there, they're wanting to split him up. I know it's different owners, but I do think they really fancy Marie's Rock to stay 3 mile. And to be fair, when you go through the stayers hurdle market and you look at them, you're thinking you've got a lot of aging horses in there that have been there and sort of done it, coming towards the end. You've got an injury prone Blazing Car, you've got Tiupu who wants it soft to heavy for me, and the rest of them, that's it really. So why not take a chance? You're getting £7. Somebody's got to run £7 better than her to win this really, and I don't think they can, to be honest. I think the only one that can is probably Florian Porter if he's fully fit, stacks them up, takes it off from the front, and we get a perfect Danny Mullins ride once again. So I think it'd be one of them two that wins, to be honest. Yeah,
completely agree.
Happy days. Next one. So the last race that we'll do on day 3 is the Mares Novice Hurdle. Another bit of an open race.
Yeah.
You've got short price 13-8 favourite Lucia. Astro Diamond 7-2, Night and Day 7-1, Lots of Joy 8-1, You Wear It Well 10-1, Magical Zoe 10-1, 14-1, the rest. I've got a strongish pick in this, believe it or not, at a pretty decent price. And for this, I'm going to go with Magical Zoe. Wow. I think she's been under the radar. She won at Down Royal. It was a really good run. I think this sort of Mares Novice race, they always go off too quick and it needs a closer. I think that's what sort of runner she is. And they put her away, keeping her for the good ground, keeping her fresh. I think they're going to go off like the clappers in this. I think Lucia will get taken off her feet. She's not had a race yet. She's run on the bridle. The last jump on her last run sent shivers down my spine. I thought she was going to take the hurdle with her. Luckily enough for her, she was miles in front anyway. Astro Diamond was the one. I've liked Astro Diamond for a long time. And she's obviously had some form in behind some talented boys. She's obviously in the Royal Bond. She looked good behind Marine Nationale. And again against Facile Vega as well. But yeah, I think they're going to take each other on, a few of these up front. And I just think it's going to be a closer. And one at a decent price, sort of 12-1. 10-1, 12-1. I'm going to give Magical Zoe in each way squeak rather than taking on the short prices at the top. Do you think, Joe?
Yeah. I do like Astro Diamond. I've got on it 6-1, which is an each way price, which I think is great value now looking at it. Like you said there, great form in behind some great horses. Not a huge betting race for me, but one I would like to give a special mention to, which rightly remember I did give you, was Jatara. Jatara. The last day looked to come on a lot.
I think it was 50-1. You mentioned that one, didn't you? Before that run shot was 50-1.
Yeah, it was. Astro Diamond was even money that day with Danny Mullins on. Sean O'Keefe was on Jatara at 11-1. Won by a length and a quarter, but I think there's a lot more improvement in Jatara than there will be in Astro. Like you said, closing types, when you watch the run back, Jatara was closing. Did make some ground up in the last furlong. And for me, at the prices, Jatara would be the each way bet.
14-1 currently.
14-1. Sorry, what did I say?
I think you'll give me at 50s when you mentioned it before that before that race. So yeah, if I were on at 50s, I think that's a good each way shout. Do you not think? Do you think she can improve enough to beat Astro? Do you not think a little bit went wrong for Astro Diamond in that race, and she still managed to stay on to beat her?
I do, but I think for the sake of like the jockey difference. I do like Danny Mullins, and I love Danny Mullins. I think he's a great underrated jockey.
I think he's got a good chance of being the sort of top rider this year at Cheltenham. Some of the rides he's going to end up with, I think.
Yeah, he could be, definitely. But I just think Ashrow Diamond's had a lot of racing, a lot of knowledge. You know, she's been in with the best, arguably, that she can be in with. Jatara hasn't really had that. So I'd probably say it's the first race where she's been properly tested. You know, they've really given her a hard race. And I think she ran well. She done herself, you know, justice. And I think 11-1 to come that close to Ashrow and then be 14-1 for this. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Lucia. I think she's been hyped up. But yeah, I just think it's a bit of value in there, you know, something you look at for Cheltenham. I know I seen it earlier on, really. Each way, Cheltenham seem to come in quite a lot for these type of races, and hopefully I've landed on the right one. Jatara each way is my pick.
Nice, and yeah, you are right. You know, a lot of times over the years, you end up sort of backing short price favourites, but it probably quite often pays to sort of look where's the value is in each way value against some of these favourites, because some of them are quite short quite early on, and I do think Jatara has got a good chance if she can improve. She obviously had a good second behind high definition as well before that Ashrow Diamond race, which is obviously a good run. Even though high definition can't jump. I think it was about 4 lengths. She was, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
she's strong form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, you know, like I said earlier, high definition could be anything. I mean, if high definition goes and wins the Supreme or runs a good race, I think Jatara will go a lot shorter. But yeah, like I say, I think quite a bit of improvement. But that would be my small bet of an each way Jatara.
That's fair, and I think mine's an each way Magical Zoe. I think you've got horses like Lots of Joy in there, who I've not really taken, so I was beating a couple of decent horses, but Night and Day's coming off one run, can't have her, and You Wear It Well was decent form behind Hermes Alend. So if Hermes Alend goes and bolts up in the Ballymore, that'd probably be an interesting one, because she did well behind him. So yeah, Magical Zoe for me, I think, and Jatara each way for you. Some nice prices there if one of them comes in. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so your nap for the day 3 of the festival, and we'll move on to the final day.
My nap for day 3 is Mighty Potter.
Mighty Potter. I am going to nap Florin Porter. Stairs.
Love that.
Get stuck in and let Danny Mullins bring him home. Right, day 4, final day. Yep.
How good was it last year when he won, by the way?
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't even think I had that much fun, to be honest.
That's what you want to see with racing, though, isn't it? You know, the whole point of it. That's why we're doing it now. Just, you know, enjoyment, really, isn't it?
Well, that's it. You know, obviously the betting's a big side of it, and we all want to have a good winner. But you look at some of these experiences, the stories behind some of the horses, the stories in some of the races, the clashes. It's what you want to see. It's all about the experience at the end of the day. You know, we both love it, and that's why we're giving this a crack, just a way of just getting our opinions out there and having a good laugh with it, really. You know what I mean?
100%.
No, I agree. I think it's good, and hopefully we can have some fun with this anyway. Day 4, final day, big clash, first race. Triumph Hurdle. Blood Destiny now 7-4 favourite. Lossy Mal 15-8. Gala Marquiao, I'm going with. Or Gala Marceau, one of the 5-1. Comfort Zone 10-1. And the rest don't have a chance, 20-1 bar.
No.
Who are you going for? Are you going to pick the same horse that Paul Townend's going to pick?
No, Lossy Mouth.
Are you sticking with Lossy Mouth?
I'm sticking with Lossy Mouth. Gets the weight. And for me, the last run was... I mean, you can put a line straight through it, can't you? I mean, the quickest part of the race, she gets baffled back. She's fighting for a place, never mind to make ground back. She's fighting to get, you know, back to a pace to keep with the group. And then she makes some ground up. But you look back and Willie said he didn't want Paul to give her a hard run to the line, and he was fuming. And, you know, Paul's obviously want a gun to make her win. So if he's fuming that Paul's asked her too much of her, I think he knew straight away she wasn't going to win. But for me, it was a first run over in England, which was the most impressive. That really sold me, that one. Where she beat Zarek the Brave, comfort zone. She beat them quite comfortably as well. Danny Mullins was on that day.
Yeah, I think you could go down the line of Paul Townend's maybe got a bit of an issue. Does he think much of it? Obviously he picked Zarek the Brave the first time out when Danny Mullins won on Lossiemouth. He then is on Lossiemouth, gets a beat, Gala Marcial. Be interesting if he does pick Blood Destiny. What's he seeing at home? Is he thinking she's not good enough to win? Maybe was it an hard race? Was she gaining on her in the end? Gala Marcial, maybe not. Gala Marcial did seem to keep going, was quite keen early on, but managed to keep going. So I think it's definitely a tight race. Obviously, one of these three is going to win. UK have got nothing. Comfort Zone has beaten the best of the UK. Scriptwriter and that. The scriptwriter was terrible next time out.
Yeah.
I think, Blood Destiny is just a weird one. I think he's obviously come in for some money. I think the whole Paul Townend maybe picking, I think one of the other preview nights it maybe got mentioned that Paul was going to pick Blood Destiny to ride. But, the form of the Fairy House Maiden has been franked. He does look a serious animal. Has to give obviously £7 to Lossiemouth, which could maybe swing it. But he looks like a big galloper. I think the track will suit. I think obviously he's going to go a favourite. I think the ground could be an issue if it comes up good. I do think this horse wants it more soft to heavy. I think obviously his wins have been on heavy. I think if it comes up any more than good to soft, I won't be with him. I think Lossiemouth gets the £7. I think she's going to go real close. I think Gala Marcial, she probably runs a bit too keen. Obviously, Triumph Hurdles, they always go off way too quick. I think that could be her race done. If she's up with a pace and she runs too keen, I think she ain't going to stay on. I think that could put her out the window. And I think it's between Lossiemouth and Blood Destiny.
Yeah.
And it's probably a bit of a toss of a coin, so I might just have to agree with you and say the £7 is going to pull it Lossiemouth's way. And I think Paul's going to choose wrong again.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, just a quick one. I think the way Lossiemouth runs, she's got very high cruising speed. She stays on. And I think that will be the decider in the Triumph. Like you say, you need a horse that's staying on. I think Lossiemouth would be so much better stalking the front pair because she come over, she raced, temperament is brilliant, settles really well, nice gallop, nice jumper. And I mean, you could say the last day, you right line through that and she's even money, she's odds on. I mean, Paul was on her the last day. He's messed up the tactics. And he's jump riding, like I said there. I think her most impressive run to date was her first run over, and it was Danny Mullins on that day. Paul Townend wasn't even on her. Paul's had sort of two runs. One he arguably messed up following a duff horse, and the other she beat Gala Marcial. Are we calling her?
Yeah, Gala Marcial. I'll go with that.
Yeah, calling her. Beat Gala Marcial 7 lengths. So for me, I just think Lossiemouth, the grey, will win, and I think Danny Mullins could, like we already mentioned, have a great Cheltenham Festival.
No, I'm with you on that one. To be fair, I think if it's good soft, I think she's the one to be on. Yeah. Right, the next race, the Albertt Bartlet. So we've got this one, and we'll do the Mare's Chase, and then probably the Gold Cup. I don't think the Hunter's Chase is one to look at, but we'll have a look. Anyway, the betting for the Albertt Bartlet. We've got Cooper's Cross.
Yeah.
2 seconds. I've just clicked off my. So the Albertt Bartlet, we have Cooper's Cross at, once it loads, 72 Corbett's Cross, Embassy Gardens 7-1, 3-Card Bragg 15-2, Hermes Allen 8-1, didn't go in here, Hidden Valley Lake 8-1, Favori de Chamdou 10-1,
Yeah.
Sandaker Glen 10-1, Monty Star 10-1, Absolute Notions 12-1, 14-1. The rest, have you got a strong pick in this?
Don't really know. I don't have a massive opinion. I've never really been a big fan of the Albertt Bartlet, to be honest.
It's been a decent race last couple of years, to be fair.
It's been a decent race, but I never seem to get it right, to be honest.
There's plenty of similar types in there. I think it's a little bit of similar to a bumper this year. You just got to throw a dart in, one sticks, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of like you say, a lot of improvement in all of these horses, and it's trying to throw a dart on the horse that you think improved the most. The one I have landed on, and is a bit of a price, is Absolute Notions. I think the run last time was very, very good behind Goodland. Was closing. I think the extra distance will help.
Mm-hmm.
And the time before that, she was third over 2 mile 4. Was staying on. Seemed, for me, it was a sort of a fitness run though. When you look back, I'm just looking at it now, and she won Beat Deep Cave by 3 lengths in a maiden hurdle. And then she went straight to Grade 2 Company, where she got beat by 4 lengths. But for the step up, I didn't think she ran too bad. And then she goes and finishes second in a Grade 1. I mean, she's improving. She beat Arkle again by 2 lengths. And I think they're 1.5 lengths behind Goodland, staying on, puts her in very good stead. And I do think 12-1 is a pretty big price.
No, it's a good shout. I think it's a good shout, to be fair. I think the one I've landed on is Monty Star. I think it was second behind Shambally Kid, but it was only his first run over hurdles, and I think it's Grade 3 next time, beating Hidden Valley Late. It's good form. 100%. I think he beat him quite snug. I know he was giving weight away, but I thought it looked really snug. I thought this guy's going to have a lot of improvement. I thought it could be a little bit of a class act in the race going forward. I think 3 Card Bragg would be a good shout if it comes up soft, but I think it's probably not going to be soft. But if it does come up, if there's rain, I'd be all over him, to be fair. But I think my pick for this one is Monty Star. I liked Arkle again early on, but yeah, I've gone off him. I think Monty Star is my stronger pick. And I think at 10-1, I'll have him all over each way. I don't think Corbett's Cross is going to run, but we'll see. The run over 2 miles is a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shows a pretty class horse to be able to drop back to 2 miles and still win. Emmett Mullins, I don't know what he's going to do, and obviously JP's bought him as well. So that's an interesting one. Embassy Gardens can't have him. And Embassy Gardens didn't go away. So yeah, I think my pick for this one's going to be Monty Star 10-1 each way.
Yeah. And the only little sort of worry about my horse that I'll sort of say, and I've noted down here, the sort of kink in his armour, in the Grade 2 where he got beat by 4 lengths, it was soft.
Yeah.
And then he's reappeared 2 months later in good ground over 2 miles 6 and come second. So I think for me, I'm siding with Gordon Elliott's 2. If it's soft, I'll probably lean towards 3 Card Bragg, like you said. I thought it was a good run against In the Pocket. And it definitely showed off that run that he wanted further.
Yeah.
And if the ground's good, I really do think Absolute Notions has a great chance.
Nice one. Right, last couple then. We'll go over the Mare's Chase. Pretty short and sweet for me, this one. I think Allegory de Vassier. I've been a fan of Imperious the whole season. I backed against her when she beat Journey with Me. Probably shouldn't have done, but I did. But I think Allegory de Vassier, I know people are going on about the jumping right and maybe a bit iffy jumps, but I just think she's got an unbelievable engine. I think she'll absolutely batter these. I think Impervious, she's a good horse, but she does seem to take chances at offences for me. I'm not sure she's going to get around me, to be honest. She's been so close on a couple of these last final flight jumps where it could have gone either way. I think Allegory de Vassier is the class act in the race. I think she's going to absolutely bolt up in this. Jeremy's Flame, can't give her a chance. Magic Days, maybe an each way squeak, but for me, Allegory de Vassier is the one to be on.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. Short and sweet. Like you said there, Impervious has been pretty guessy when the going gets tough, shall we say, and I think Allegory de Vassier with the engine will just be alongside her, pestering her, and I think she will force mistakes out in Impervious. Yeah, that's the one. I think she'll force out mistakes, and I think that'll be the main thing, which Impervious sort of has never had. When you look through a run, she's never had a horse alongside her, and obviously a horse that's gone past her. And I think once Allegory de Vassier is making a battle right to the end, I think you could see a few mistakes, and I can just see her staying on up the hill and, bringing it home for the Rishi camp.
No, I agree. I completely agree on that. Right, so have you got an opinion on the Hunter's Chase, or should we go straight for the final race and go for the Gold Cup?
Do you know what, mate? I don't. It sort of put me off, really, because last year I was on Winged Leader when Billaway come up and stole it off me, and I was on a 10-1, believe it or not.
Oh, no.
So I was gutted, but it's not really a race that interests me this year, to be honest, mate. I think there's some really good races in there. It's one I'll probably look at, closer to the day. Probably try and find value in there, really. But in terms of, do I fancy anything now, or have I seen anything of any horse? Not really, to be honest, mate. What about
Yeah,
you?
the other one I like in there is Ferns Lock, and he's not going to run, so I think
No.
next year he could be a real player, but I think Volsoleil is probably going to win this. But it's not a race I've got any sort of opinion on, to be honest.
No.
Right then, the last race of the evening, and we're going to go for the Gold Cup, which is obviously turning into a bit of a superstar race this year. We've obviously got the enigma that is Galopin Des Champs, 15-8, Brave Man's Game, 13-2, Applautard, 8-1, Noble Yeats, 9-1, 9-1 Statler, 12-1 Conflated, 14-1 Ahoy Signor, and 14-1 the rest. Who's your Gold Cup pick then? Finishes off?
Applautard.
Oh, you're going to Applautard, yeah?
Yeah, he's been there. He's done it. I think you can't really write off the last run because, well, you can and you can't. I mean, for me, you sort of look at the lineup and I think Brave Man's Game, no, not really. Statler stayed on behind Galopin, but should improve. But with Galopin being the number one string, I can't see much improvement. Shishkin looks in the is on the market here, which won't go. Conflated, I'm not a great fan of. Ahoy Senor is a wild one. And I just keep looking at the race and I think Applautard, second the year before, was in the race again last year, stayed on impressively. I backed him straight after the race again for this year, and I was gutted when he pulled up the last day. But I still think there's something in there for him to go here. I think even if he doesn't run his best race, I think he places, and I think this is definitely the value. I think if the last run wasn't there, he'd be fighting favourite with Galopin. I know you say if, because horse racing is all if and buts. And I would also give a small mention to Noble Yeats, being pretty impressive and has got a pretty strong, for me, turn of foot after a long, long race. Problem for me with Noble Yeats is he likes to race quite far off the pace, and I do think in a Gold Cup that's probably will be ran pretty fast, he could get too detached and have too many lengths to make up going up the hill. Especially if horses like Galopin Des Champs stays the trip and Applautard turns up. I think he could be too far back. But if he's around there, I wouldn't knock him for a place. I think he's one of the strong ones who you could get a bit of solid money for.
No, I think that's not a bad shout. Like I say, I do think he seems to get outpaced, doesn't he, and then stay on. Will it be too much for him? The Gold Cup pace, I think. Quickly running through, I think Galopin Des Champs is. I do think he is an aeroplane. I do think he is up there with Constitution Hill type. Obviously, it's first crack at a Gold Cup trip. It looks like he could stay. Obviously, the last run was pretty impressive. He's beaten them with pretty well. He's beaten them with ease, really, going away at the line. So I do think he's got a great chance, but I am going to take him on. I think at the price. I think he's a bit short for a Gold Cup. Brave Man's Game. Not for me. I don't think he'll stay this trip. I think he's all right on flat track. Flat track 3 miles, Kempton. Fair enough, King George. But I think the home press was giving Lemps away, jumping left. And obviously come up lame after the fall. Something just wasn't right. So he's probably won a poor King George in the end when you look back at the form.
Yeah, 100%.
Applautard is obviously the one that if he's back to form of last year's win, you've got to be on him. It was an absolute demolition job last year's Gold Cup. Will it be the same again? Maybe, but pulling up at Aydock, no show in the next run as well. It's just too big of an if. You're backing on the hope really that he's back to what he was last year. Noble Yeats again. I think he'll be outpaced. Not be able to keep up this sort of pace. I think it'll just be one little step too far for him. And the one that I've landed on.
Does it begin with an S?
It certainly does. And it ain't Shishkin. It's Statler. I'm going to go for Statler each way at 9-1. I think he was staying on in behind Galopin Des Champs last time out. He looked out pace. It weren't really run to suit. It was obviously staying on at the end. I think he stays all day. Obviously, he's won the national chase. He goes at Cheltenham. They go off fast in a Gold Cup. I think if he's there or thereabouts, he does have the pace to stay with the Gold Cup pace, although he might be a little bit outpaced, but not as dramatic as maybe a Noble Yeats might be. I think he will be there or thereabouts.
Yeah,
and I think he's gonna have a real good chance. I definitely think he'll be in the first three.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll be my pick each way at 9-1. Ahoy Senor, it was one I liked. I backed him every time against Braveman's game, but he just can't jump. So he's not going to get round for me. But he'll hopefully take him up around at a good pace. And yeah, I don't really give anything else a real chance, so I'm going to stick with Statler each way at 9-1.
And I'm going to stick with a Plutard each way.
Lovely. So finishes off in Joe. What is your nap for day 4?
My nap for day 4, let me just look, would be Absolute Notions each way if the ground is good. Really keen on that one.
Right, I will nap Allegory of Assie in the Mare's Chase. I think she's going to take the world of beating, and I think she'll be finishing off plenty of Accas for me, no doubt.
Hopefully, mate, fingers
And
crossed.
that wraps it up, Joe, mate. How do you feel after all that? I think that was a good... hopefully people have enjoyed our little preview of that, and yeah, I think overall it's been quite a good little stint, that.
Yeah, 100%, fingers crossed. Just one question I do have. Do you have any handicaps?
Oh, yeah, sorry, handicaps, yeah. I've not really looked, to be honest. It's more of an on-the-day thing for me, personally.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, I've not really got anything in the handicaps. I might post a couple on our Twitter page later on if once I've had a good look, or once we're a little bit closer to the day.
Yeah. 100%.
See how the prices fall. Have you got a couple you'd like to mention before we finish up?
I do. I'm just going on to the race now, but I can tell you, if this horse turns up, I would really fancy it. In the Boodles, Beau Zenith. Got a pretty good mark for me. Her first run from France wasn't her at all. I mean, let me just go on the Boodles.
It's gone from my mind as well. He come over from France, looked like it wasn't him turning up really, and then he won well the next day. I think there was plenty of improvement. I don't think it was 100% horse that day, and I think after he got beat Blood Destiny in France.
Blood Destiny, I think they were always targeting this race, and I think, have you got the price up there? I think he's priced around 14-1.
Yeah, I've just remembered I do also have one for the Boodles, actually. One that I'm actually fancy, but it's the only handicap one I've actually looked at. But
right, yeah. So
Beau Zenith is 14-1. 14-1 Beau Zenith.
14-1. If you look at the horses in there, I do think a few of them won't go. And I think if Beau Zenith goes, I think he could be pretty short. And I do, like I say, I did see a stat earlier on in the week when I was having a look through all the races, and there's a lot of horses that come over from France, especially to England, who don't perform on the first race. It's very different, and I think this one could take a while to get used to, but I definitely think he's got a handicap in him, and I think his rating is pretty low considering the type of horse he beat in France.
No, I think it's a good pick. I think my only pick in the Boodles, I quite like Burns horse Biker. I think you can get around 8-1 currently. I quite like that one. He's got some good form. He run a good race behind Sir Alan last time out, but he looked very, very tentatively handled. Do you know what I mean? Staying on. So I think he got a decent mark. I can't remember the mark actually. 1-8 he got.
Yeah.
So he's off 10 stone 12. I think it's a good weight. I think he's been laid out for this race. So my pick in the Boodles would be Biker at 8-1 each way. And what's your last? You say you had one more?
Yeah, I have one more. Just a quick mention in the Coral Cup, HMS Seahorse.
Nice.
I backed him the last day, and he won going away. He's a fast horse. He finished 4th in the bumper last year, if I'm right in saying. Oh, the handicap was it?
I think the handicap. I think, yeah.
Yeah, the handicap. That Brazil one. He finished 4th in that because I backed him there when the Rishi horse got pipped.
Gaelic Warrior, yeah.
Gaelic Warrior, yeah, jumping out all the time. But no, I like this one. I think 10-1's a good price again. I think he's been targeted for this race. ever since the start of the season when he moved over to the flat. I think he's gone to the flat, come here. They've run him just enough times to give him a mark, to get him in this race. And I think he could be a good thing and he is pretty ground versatile. So I do like that one. Even though he's flatbred, he's got, even though he's ran over the flat, he can also act on the soft ground.
No, good pick, mate. That's a good pick. No, I like it.
Yeah.
Right, well, that sort of wraps it up for us, mate. I think what we'll do is we'll put out. I think we'll put a bit of a tweet out. We'll put our picks on Twitter. We'll do a bit of a James v Joe type scenario where we'll see how they get on.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will be out on YouTube tomorrow on Tuesday. And we'll hopefully be out on Spotify as well. So we're going to really hammer all this on there, and hopefully anyone who listens has a good opinion of it, and hopefully pick some winners out of it as well. Any closing notes off you, mate?
No, not really. Just like I said, naps of the day. I'd say my value at the moment is definitely I ripped Mighty Potter. I think 6-4 is. Hello?
Yeah, mate, go on. 6-4 is value. Hello, can you hear me? Have we lost him? We got all the way to the end. I don't know if you can hear me, Joe. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll finish this up now. Yeah. But like I say, have a good week. Don't go too hard on any bets. I think don't chase it. If you have a couple, even if you don't have a good day on day one, just steady away. Just play the horses you fancy and enjoy the week, really. Don't ruin it by lumping too much money on it. I'd say that's my take on that. So, yeah, I think that'll do us. And hopefully we'll see you all next time on episode 2 of the Final Flight, which will probably be a Cheltenham review of the full week. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.